Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you and welcome to the home of championship boxing, the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. Once again, we have a big night of action coming your way, and it's all brought to you by Forum Boxing Incorporated, along with Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers. Now presenting the officials as appointed by the California State Athletic Commission, our physicians at ringside, Dr. Robert Carnes and Dr. Alex Sinclair. Timekeepers at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns, we have Aaron Coslow, Willie Ariola, and John Lichty. At this time, presenting the referee in charge of this bout, he will be giving instructions after the introductions, Larry Rosadia. Right, fans, here we go. We are starting off our event with a 10-round scheduled featured event as we present the Budweiser $120,000 welterweight tournament bout. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin with the introductions, we are honored to have with us tonight a legend of boxing, a former two-time world champion in attendance. Champion in the late 1950s and 60s, he defended his titles 19 different times. He is a legend of boxing. Welcome the former junior welterweight and lightweight champion of the world, Carlos Ortiz. Well, fans, here we go. Introducing to you first on my right, he is fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing black trunks with green lettering, and he is fighting out of Brooklyn, New York. He weighed in at 147 pounds. His record includes 21 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, with 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He is ranked the number 4 welterweight by the IBF. Introducing Stephan Johnson. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the red corner in this 10-round tournament bout. He is wearing blue trunks with gold lettering, hailing from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. He weighed in at the same weight of 147 pounds, and his record includes 19 wins, 8 losses, with 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Introducing Darryl Dangerous D. Lattimore. Once again, your referee in charge, Larry Rosadia.
All right, Stephan, well, we talked already in the dressing room. I want to obey my commands a lot of times. When I say break, stop punching, let go, take 1 step back. Clean fight, shake hands, good luck.
All right, the fighters have been introduced. Johnson's 5'9", Lattimore 5'8". Both come in at 147, the welterweight number. 24 years of age for Johnson. His opponent is 6 years older. Johnson with a 1-inch advantage in the reach department. Well, I tell you, if Johnson can fight just 3/4 as good as Carlos Ortiz could, this kid is some welterweight. Ortiz was a great champion as a lightweight and a welter. Back in those halcyon days, the 50s, the 60s, and thereabouts, boy, he was some crackerjack fighter.
And that's when it was tough, huh, Tom?
Oh, it never is easy.
That's when it was the toughest.
This squared circle has never been easy. All right, Johnson's in the black trunks, and in the blue is Lattimore. Johnson's on a streak of 4 in a row, and Lattimore had some impressive statistics as he broke in. He actually won 12 in a row. He won 14 while losing 1, and then suddenly dropped 6 more. His record has kind of gone sideways, if not exactly downhill in recent years. He's the southpaw in blue, and Johnson in black. Larry Rosadia is the referee, and it's scheduled for 10, and they're part of the Budweiser welterweight tournament championship affair. Eventually, the winner's going to get $62,000.
Well, speaking of Lattimore, Tommy, I don't like his foot, his movement. When he throws his punches, he's off balance at all times. He just tripped the referee, but his feet aren't right. He's got to learn to get more balance.
I mentioned $62,000 in a brand new automobile will go eventually to the winner of the welterweight tournament, and that is not bad. And we'll show you a financial breakdown on this very enterprising and certainly highly competitive.
See, watch as Lattimore throws his shots, Tom. He's off balance at all times. You got to plant yourself if you're gonna be effective with your combinations.
Johnson, on the other hand, he's going to fight a southpaw. He better stick his right foot outside of his. Excuse me, his left foot outside of his. It'll help a lot. They're not easy to fight southpaws. You don't see that many of them, to which most boxers say amen and thank goodness for that. Nice crowd on hand here tonight, the Great Western Forum, wherever you might be along the Prime Network. While Ruben and I hope it's the best of everything for you and yours. And it's good to be with you tonight. Got a championship fight coming up a bit later. Junior featherweight defense by Rudy the Beauty Zabala. I understand he doesn't want to be called the Beauty anymore. I can't understand that. We'll have to talk about that later.
He may have grown on to be big and perhaps not so beautiful. I don't know.
Well, we'll wait and see. Round one is coming to a close. Handful of seconds left. And, Lattimore gets staggered, and Johnson pops him again as he's backing up and running away. Seconds remain. Lattimore steps in to hold on. He's in the blue. And the bell brings us to the end of round number one. Well, go back to the corner with Carlos Ortiz's prospect, Stephan Johnson. And before we take a look at him, we'll run down the tournament for you. $120,000 is the total prize money in the quarterfinals, and this is a quarterfinal bout tonight. The winner will get $4,500, the loser $3,000. Semifinals, the winner moving on will pick up an additional $7,500 with a victory in the semis. The loser in that will be picking up a check of $4,500, and then to the finals, the winner to get $50,000, the loser $10,000. Handsome payoffs indeed. Add it all up on the left side of your screen, and you've got $62,000 plus a new car. Very, very nice purse indeed for the winner of the welterweight tournament. That was the wild left hand by Lattimore, and Johnson throws a right hand that has Lattimore backing up and trying to brush a cobweb, real or imagined, away. Here we go for round number two. Johnson is in the black trunks, orthodox style. The southpaw is Darryl Lattimore. He's 30, out of Washington, D.C. Tom Browner, who's a pretty good fighter in his own right, manages his career. As we told you, he does have one thing in common with young Johnson. He, too, is a loser to a fighter and a good one, Kevin Pompey. But Johnson started out great amateur career. Won his first 12 fights as a pro, dropped one. Actually won 12 out of 14 to start his pro career. And since then, his record has gone to 19-8. So he's hit quite a snag in the last couple of years, really.
I guess, yes, you can say that, Tom.
And at age 30, he probably doesn't have that many years left to regroup. But you never know.
Well, in the welterweight division, it's a lot different than the lighter weights. Of course, depends on how many fights, tough fights he had.
Yep.
And most of them will be tough, Tom. No fight's easy.
Johnson's best showing on the losing side of the ledger was against Roy Jones. Lost in 8 rounds on a TKO. And Jones might be one of many people think he's one of the finest fighters in the world. So losing to him is no heavy black mark on your record. If anything good can be said of a loss. Johnson's in the black trunks and Lattimore in blue. Scheduled for 10. In the welterweight division at 147 pounds. The winner will move on to a semifinal go in the Budweiser tournament.
Hey, it's a great tournament. It gets these kids a chance to make good money. New car, exposure.
$62,000, a lot of television time.
Sure. But like we said, they're tough fights.
Yep.
Of course, coming home at 3 a.m. is a tough fight.
For some of us, Ruben, those days are just memories.
A My pride, baby.
Toe to toe. A lot of punches thrown. Not too many landing over there between the two.
Tommy, a great friend of ours, Chuck Barger, is very, very ill, and he's watching this fight from his bed. He watches Prime Network every show.
Well, let's hope his is a speedy recovery. Round 2 coming to a close. We'll be back after this. Johnson, young man with a record of 21, 4-1, and 14 knockouts. On paper would appear to be too good, too classy, and have too much for Lattimore, though the action has been at a minimum. Both men willing, but not many punches of authority landing. Pretty good right hand in the first round by Johnson. Stunned Lattimore for a brief moment right near the end of round number 1. And Johnson is forcing most of the action, Ruben, driving the left-hander back. And, of course, even the best of them have a tough time fighting going backwards. It just is... you're awfully good if you can do that. But if you're that good, why are you backing up? Huh?
Well, Muhammad did it very well. Gary Leonard did it very well.
That's true. But they're just a handful. You can count them all on one hand and have room left over to order 3 Coca-Colas, I'll tell you that. Or Pepsis or whatever strikes your fancy. This is round 3, part of the Budweiser tournament for welterweights. Winner eventually goes on to claim the championship and purse money of $62,000. Neither man's been down, and outside of that pretty solid right hand in the first round, why neither man has been stunned. Lattimore in blue. The southpaw throws a pretty good left hand that catches Johnson coming in.
That was almost a hook from the left side, which is not very heard of. Not heard of very much, I should say.
Johnson's got a winning streak of 4 in a row. Lost in a try for the welterweight USBA title to Pompey. Toe-to-toe. Lattimore is giving as good as he takes in that exchange.
Hey, what? I think he hurt Johnson with the left hand right there. Just before this exchange, Tom.
Lattimore in blue. Southpaw. Johnson drives him away with the right hand. Catches a left, and they fall into a clinch. About a half-minute remaining here in round number 3. It is scheduled for 10. Larry Rosadia. Pretty good left hand thrown there by Johnson, and he catches a good left. A swing and a miss by Lattimore, and he throws himself to the canvas right in front of us. No knockdown, seconds ticking away. Well, I tell you, if Johnson had connected, somebody would have gone south with that.
I tell you what, he's only got 9 knockouts on his record. I think that's very deceiving. Lattimore can punch a little bit.
Yes, he can, and he looks like he's a little bit mad, more than a bit perturbed, as we now follow Johnson back to his corner across the way, and that's the famed former champion with the white hat, Carlos Ortiz, who's in the ring administering to his man. Let's listen in.
You heard him just before the bell.
Now get to him with the left jab, okay? Get to him.
A little grease on him, fella. Up around the eyes, up above.
We'll take a look at Lattimore. Watch him throw a punch and literally throw himself right off his feet with that right there. A wild left hand that spun himself right to the canvas in front of us as Lattimore comes up out of his corner. It was interesting. Ortiz, champion in 2 divisions, gave that age-old advice, Ruben Castillo, you got to get off first.
That's true. And it's always comfortable to know that you've got a man like this in your corner. You know that? It really boosts you.
I tell you, we might be making light of it, but it is, of course, one of the old axioms of this game. Get off first, stick out that left hand, throw that jab, and throw it right behind it. And most guys find it tough. to fight with any degree of accuracy or effectiveness if you've got a hand stuck in their face and they're backing up. But get off first. And he was quick to point out to Johnson, whether Johnson believed him or not, that you heard him in the closing moments of the round. Whether he did or not, I don't know. Lattimore. Is Rosadia taking a point away? Well, Lattimore, I don't think could afford to have that happen. Can he?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I had him behind on my card, don't you?
I've got him down to 29-28.
Yeah. Well, and that's a precious point if indeed he's lost it. Hitting on the break, you suppose, Ruben? That was about his...
Oh, it was a low blow.
Oh, I see. Well, Rosadia's not going to stand in ceremony if he takes a point away from him for the first of the low blows. Why, yeah, ought to get a warning, caution, something. One would think. Lattimore is in the, Lattimore is in the blue trunks and Johnson in the black as they stand jaw to jaw above us here.
You know, should Lattimore lose a round, this would be like a knockdown. That's 10-8 round with that point taken away.
That's right.
So if you're scoring it out there, it's a 10-point must system. The winner of the round gets 10 points. The loser gets 9.
Or a lesser number and take one away from that. He's looking at what just as well have been knocked on the back of his lap.
That's right.
Toe-to-toe against the ropes. Lattimore fights his way back off the ropes in the near mid-ring now. And fall into a clinch. A lot of punches thrown. Few landing with any authority. Neither man has been down except Lattimore spun himself to the deck in the closing moments of round 3. Washington, D.C. and making his forum debut in the black trunks is Stephan Johnson, who's out of New York City. Seconds remain here in round number 4, scheduled for 10, and we'll be back right after this. His unofficial card at 39-36, Johnson up by 3 points. And as he explained to you, the winner of the round gets 10, the loser a lesser number. Lattimore was penalized a round for a low blow, which didn't help his chances of capturing round number 4, and here they are out for number 5. Well, North Carolina is the NCAA basketball champion. For those of you that are more interested in boxing, why they defeated Michigan 77-71. The Fab Five, from freshmen to sophomores, a magnificent 2 years of basketball for Fisher and Michigan and Dean Smith, and the kids from North Carolina winning it. For Smith, I believe, his second NCAA title. He won it back in '82, I believe. Did Jordan throw one in the last second to win that one back then, almost a decade ago?
And look what he's done since.
Yeah. As magnificent coach, he, I guess, probably should have won a lot more, the casual observer would say, when you consider that half the guys in the NBA played for Dean back at North Carolina. But hey, it's boxing here at the Great Western Forum. I'm Tom Kelly along with Ruben Castillo. And we're watching a couple of welterweights. They're part of the Budweiser tournament. Lattimore, the southpaw, in blue, and Johnson in black. Johnson, if you were to characterize these two, a man whose career seems very much in front of him, and Lattimore, a guy who's trying to recapture some glory. He's 30. Johnson's only 24. He's won 4 in a row. He's got a record of 21-4. Lattimore, after a brilliant start as a professional, he won 12 straight. Has dropped to a record of 19-8 now. Actually won 14 of his first 15. But at 30, some would say his best days are behind him. I wouldn't say that to him for fear that he'd knock me into the middle of next week. He's got a shoelace that could be a problem, and they're going to have to take a look at that and tie it. He could trip himself and go down. He's got a shoelace problem there. Larry Rosadia's going to have to, he's looked at it, he sees it. Here we go. Just a handful of seconds. He might last the round without anything undue or untoward happening to him there. It has been a busy fight for these two, if you've been watching with us, but so far not much in the way of dramatic punches or startling moments have taken place. Coming to the end of round number 5, and both men wild as we come to the end of the 5th round. Johnson thought for a moment it was his shoelace, but it isn't, of course. It's Lattimore's, and they'll tie that up. Say, boxing fans, the Ringsiders Club offers you select seating, complimentary parking, and exclusive Forum Club membership. Join the Ringsider Club, see the action up close, become a part of the finest boxing program in America. Call now. Operators are standing by. The number, area code 310-673-1773.
Hooks the body in the head. You're not aiming the left hand straight like you should, coming back with the right hook. Double and triple hook. Okay? Underneath there, we got to have a body.
Tom Browner in the corner of Darryl Lattimore. I didn't catch everything he said, Ruben. What was he telling you?
He was wanting him to
too happy,
counterpunch.
was he?
No, he wasn't, but he wants him to counterpunch and work that upper body.
Lattimore in blue as we go into round number 6, scheduled for 10. Johnson has knocked out 14 of his opponents while winning 21. There's a right hand that was about 3/4 effective as it caught Lattimore backing away. And now Johnson has him almost pinned in the corner. Lattimore bangs his way out of that, but backs up, takes some punches as he falls into his own corner. And Johnson and Lattimore wrestling, throwing punches, and not too many of them landed.
I'll tell you what, I mean, of course, Johnson looks like he's the aggressor. He's taking the fight to Lattimore, but he's not landing any punches. Lattimore's blocking some, slipping some, and counterpunching.
Well, there's a lot of wasted effort between these two, Ruben. They are very willing, but so far not too effective. Lattimore seems to hit a little bit harder. At least you get that impression.
Yeah, he just took an uppercut, though, that kind of
put the wind out of his sails a little.
It's kind of brought him back to reality a little bit.
Larry Rosadilla, the referee here, they work each other over in this, the 6th round with the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. Johnson in black.
Nice little left hook by Johnson. I'll tell you what, this Lattimore's got a good chin. He's been hit with some good shots.
He's 30. Johnson at 24, 6 years his junior. Good, solid right hand thrown by Johnson. Caught Lattimore almost flush in the face.
That'll make you do the 1-2. See, those legs did a little.
They quivered just a bit.
Just a bit.
Knees kind of said hello to one another.
That's not what you want them to do.
No. Puts one in an awkward stance out there when your knees start to look at one another. Oh, nice right hand thrown by Lattimore, but it didn't seem to have a lot to it.
Well, he's still coming back, throwing some shots of his own. He's not fighting a bad fight. I think what Lattimore needs to do, Tom, is stick and move, get on that bicycle a little bit, get his head cleared. He's got a good jab, and he's awkward.
Yes, he is awkward, and of course that makes him perhaps even that much tougher to fight. Round number 6 drawing to a close, handful of seconds left. And we'll be back to see how Lattimore and Johnson do right after we see about that. Johnson throwing a solid right hand that spun Lattimore around. Lattimore bangs him with the left of his own here as we get round 7 underway. Neither man has been down. Scorecards here at ringside, Ruben's and mine, though thoroughly unofficial, I think would have Johnson ahead on all counts. Number 10 points to the winner of the round and a lesser number to the loser. A point was taken away from Lattimore about 4 rounds ago by the referee Larry Rosadilla for a low punch. Lattimore wild. Johnson responds in kind. He's wild as they are toe-to-toe. A bit later in our program tonight, happy to have you with us for the junior featherweight title defense by Rudy the Beauty Zavala. He goes against Maximilian Gomez, Gomez, young guy out of Denver.
I used to live in Denver.
It's a beautiful city.
Tremendous.
And you moved out by...
I went to Bakersfield.
From Denver?
Yes.
Did you lose a bet or what?
Are you kidding me? What's wrong with Bakersfield? That's a great city.
But I mean, they don't compare. They don't compute.
Well, let me tell you something. They're having right now fight night at the Forum in Bakersfield at a place called Guthrie's, and we're saying hello to them.
Well, that's wonderful.
So, please don't talk about
the great wrestler. Does he have a spot up there? Didn't he have a
Strongbow Stadium?
Yeah. Did a fight up there one night.
Did you really?
Oh, yes, he did. Yeah. No, I didn't mean to denigrate Bakersfield. It's a great little town. But, I mean,
wait till they lift your head.
Denver.
They're going to come at you. I'm calling
Bakersfield. That doesn't compute.
I like Bakersfield.
I wouldn't say it's not a place to like. It just
doesn't. Okay.
You don't compare Bakersfield and Denver.
We better get back to this fight.
I'll tell you, Lattimore better get back to it, or he's not going to have much of a chance of pulling out a victory. This is Budweiser's welterweight tournament. Winner moves on to another fight. Winner picks up $4,500. And the eventual winner in the fight will end up with $62,000 plus a brand new automobile. Oh, nice left hand and a right hand that was even better. As we are closing down, down goes Lattimore. Right hand. Didn't look all that impressive, but of course we weren't on the payoff end of it. And Lattimore was, and down he went. First time either fighter has been down here in this one, and now they're out for round number 8. That's Johnson in the black and Lattimore in blue. Johnson is not noted as a knockout artist, though he's put away 14 of his 21 victories by knockout. It's more battle of attrition with Johnson, who suddenly has stepped up the pace and looks now, Ruben Castillo, as though he plans to knock Lattimore out.
Well, I think Lattimore also knows that he's going to have to win by knockout to win this fight, so he's got to step it up a notch. He ran into another shot here.
Yes,
here's the problem with him, Tommy. He throws these punches off balance and tends to lean into them, and he runs right into some shots.
In fact, he's gotten up close and personal with a couple of right-handed shots that have hit him flush right in the middle of the face. But for all of that, neither man is marked. Lattimore did go down right at the close of the 7th round and takes a solid right hand there. And Johnson is finding him now very available. It looks as though his knees are just about to give out on him, or his legs. And Johnson chases him across the ring and belts him at every opportunity. Rosadilla steps between them. Lattimore comes back to the left hand of his own.
He still looks dangerous to me. If he wouldn't lunge when he throws the punches, it'd be much better. It'd be a much closer fight.
He's awfully awkward, throws a punch, falls into Johnson. They end up in the ropes all tangled up for a moment. Now Johnson has him practically in Lattimore's corner. Lattimore nails Johnson with a couple of right hands and lefts, and they exchange wild shots. Artistically, it may leave a lot to be desired, but two young guys trying to outslug each other. Oh, boy, Lattimore landed a dandy, and Johnson is hurt and holding on. Johnson is trying to weather the storm now all of a sudden. I don't know if Lattimore realizes how much trouble he's got Johnson in, but Johnson gets hit with another right.
He says, no,
I'm okay.
He ain't fooling me, baby.
No.
I know what that feels like. He's hurt.
And he's hanging on, as Lattimore can't seem to find him to turn this 180 degrees. Lattimore may have punched himself out. Now Johnson's looking for some second wind, Ruben.
They're just one bomb away from ending the fight, either fighter.
Johnson's got some second wind, is coming back, and Lattimore staggers to his knees. No knockdown. He's awfully slow getting up for a guy who wasn't knocked down. This 8th round has had all of the action in it. There's the bell. Round 8 comes to a close, and suddenly the crowd loves every moment of it. Little slow getting a stool into the ring over there for Johnson, who I think could really use a couple of seconds sitting down. The gentleman right behind him, Norman Lockwood, I'm not going to tell you how old Normie is. He's a tremendous guy, and he handles all of the gloves here at the Great Western Forum. He's been around boxing in Los Angeles all of his life.
He has got to be one of the best cut men in the business.
No question about it. Now, there is a cut high in the, if not the forehead, up in the scalp of Johnson.
Okay, baby.
They're trying to apply a little pressure.
Here, go get him.
That's Lockwood Norman
Come on
working
now, we got
on
to
it.
take this guy out. Come on.
And his last bit of comment to Johnson was, hey, come on, we got to take this guy out. So here they come for round number 9. 8 was a thriller.
I'll tell you what, these kids deserve every bit of that money. What a fight.
Johnson in black and Lattimore in the blue. Lattimore was down at the closing moments of the 7th round. Bell can't save you, but he was up. Came out in round number 8 and really nailed Johnson and had him in trouble. But Johnson, being 24 is a big item as compared to being 30, and Johnson managed to regain his composure and get some second wind and get himself back together, and at the end of the round was pretty much in command again. But for a moment, Lattimore had him. Just couldn't finish him.
You keep alluding to that 30 age. What is it about it? I mean, I was still fighting. I was still fighting at the age of 30, and it was starting to make sense. Starting to come back to me. I did kind of lose a couple.
Lost a step or two.
Yeah, just a couple of steps there.
It'll happen to you. Even a great fighter like you are, Ruben.
Oh, man. What a country.
Lattimore in blue and Johnson in black. Still to come on our Budweiser Championship night of boxing for the Great Western Forum. We've got the junior featherweight USBA title. Maximilian Max Gomez against the current title holder, Rudy the Beauty Zavala, who will be making title defense. Scheduled for 12, that one. This one's scheduled for 10, and Budweiser's welterweight championship tournament. These two guys are really having a lot of fun tangling up the lead feet. That would be the left one of Johnson and the right one of Lattimore. They've been stepping on each other most of the fight.
I'll tell you what, Lattimore that last round was one shot away of
That's right.
bankrolling.
One punch, yep.
That's it, one punch away.
He had Johnson right where he wanted him, or nearly so. But Johnson avoided going down and out and fought his way back. Round number 9. We're watching now, and it's the pace has slowed again.
When you fight as hard as these two kids have fought throughout the fight, you're going to run out of gas too.
Oh yes, they've been at it ever since round 1. More than willing, very busy. Round 9 coming to a close, and there's the bell, and that'll leave us round 10, which I would think Lattimore will have to throw into high gear, step it up a notch if indeed he hopes to pull this one off. That's Lattimore. In his corner is Tom Browner. He's a very good fighter in his own right. Lattimore unmarked. So far they've Working on the top
out of there. This is the 10th round. We got to win this round. You got to win this round. It's been tight all the way through, man. You got to do it. You just swinging punches. Everything you got in there.
Well, short and sweet to the point over there with Lattimore. Johnson's corner. Carlos Ortiz with a couple of last-second en masse of encouragement. Lattimore's corner very emphatic about, man, we got to win this round. You got to take him out.
I think he's got to hit a home run here, Tommy, because
With the bases loaded.
That's right. Winning the round is not going to win this fight.
I don't think so, unless our scorecards are completely amiss.
And they have been known
In the past.
in the past, yes.
We have missed some of the nuances of the game, no question about it.
Are you asked the same question I am a lot? What fight were you watching?
A lot of guys say that to me.
Good. I'm glad I'm not alone.
That's right. Well, we're in this together, bro.
Thank you. Of course, you've missed more fights than I have. I don't know what fights
I used
you
to
watch.
score yours a lot. Oh, boy.
You missed them.
Lattimore's in blue. I missed a lot of thrilling moments in there. Johnson in black. For a guy who's been told he's got to take him out, Lattimore is patiently picking his spots here. Johnson sharper with the punches. Lattimore was down for a handful of seconds at the close of round 7. Nearly put Johnson away in the 8th. The 9th was a quiet round. They are toe-to-toe here in the 10th. Johnson a lot sharper. Lattimore looks like he wants to go down.
His legs just aren't cooperating with the rest of his body, Tom.
I wonder if Johnson, in moments like that, just step away from him. Lattimore might just fall to the canvas, but as he continues to hold on to Johnson. With a good right hand done by Lattimore, who continues to catch a series of punches. Awkward. Lattimore, very awkward, tough to fight. Falls into you, grabs you, wrestles you around. Johnson, I'm sure, aware of the fact that he would be ahead on most of the cards, if not all of them. And mouthpiece almost the casualty there for Lattimore, who gets belted with a left hand again. Rosadia steps between them. There's just a handful of seconds remaining. Been a busy 10 rounds for both these guys. Johnson flailing away. Lattimore game to the end. But I would think it'll be Johnson moving on, advancing in the Budweiser tournament, and we'll get the official decision in just a moment. Our championship bout coming up in just a bit. We'll be back with more from the Great Western Forum, but after we pause for this message. Is with the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser. Yeah, this Bud's for you. And by West Coast Detective, transportation and protective services worldwide since 1922, headquartered in North Hollywood, California. All right, it's in the books. Johnson and Lattimore, and Jimmy Lennon Jr. has picked up the cards from the judges. Let's find out how they voted. We'll go to the center of the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Vince Delgado, scores about 97-92. Burton Gilliam scores at 97-91. Lou Filippo scores about 98-91. All three in favor of the winner. Continuing in the Budweiser welterweight tournament, Stephan Johnson.
Well, a very unanimous decision for Stephan Johnson. whose record now goes to 22-4-1. And that's Carlos Ortiz, former great world champion, to the left of your screen there. And, of course, Johnson now advances against Wilbur Kagundo, who was a winner in his quarterfinal bout, and they'll be going along in the semifinals. We'll be back with our championship go. That'll be Zavala against Gomez for the USBA Junior Featherweight crown. 12 rounds coming your way after this.